Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
With that being said, we'll just move to the next part, which is inventory adjustments. Now, what is inventory adjustments before we see that in next week? Let's say I am, a retail. I have a retail business of electronic goods. I have a shop which I have, let's say 10 TVs and 20 ACs and 5 refrigerators that are in my stock. Now, when I go for the physical counting of the goods, and if I realize that instead of 10 TVs, I have 5 TVs left, for some reason, there is a discrepancy between my system stocks and my physical stocks. Whenever there is a situation like that, you can use the inventory adjustment transaction of NetSuite to adjust your quantities in the system. Because at the end of the day, your system stocks, the figures that you see in your system should match with your physical stock, right? And now this is, a very critical problem for all the organizations, especially where they store goods, like where they have huge warehouses or production facilities. They need to always make sure that the system stocks matches with the physical stock, as this could be a, very severe violation of internal controls. And it's also an audit. I would say, not best practices from audit perspective as well. And, create some issues for the management. Whenever there is a discrepancy between a physical stock and your system stock, you use inventory adjustment transactions. Does that make sense? Alright. Now, with that being said, I'll jump on to NetSuite. I'll go back to my home screen. I'll go in transactions. Inventory. And adjust inventory. This is the navigation to create inventory adjustment. This will open up the inventory adjustment form for us. And it's a fairly straightforward form where you can just enter all your header details and then set the item records. First things first, I need to select the company or the subsidiary in which I'm doing this adjustment. Let's say if you have 10 companies, you are doing your cycle counting or inventory counting for your particular organization. You can select that relevant subsidiary. Let's say I'm doing this for my GDS code company. I'll select my subsidiary here. Once I select my subsidiary, I also need to select an adjustment account. Notice that NetSuite is an ERP system. Any transaction that you do will have a GL impact. And for GL purposes, you always have to select a debit and a credit account. This is the account that will be used as a debit or a credit once this transaction is processed. I am going to select other expenses over here. You can select your date posting period memo if you need to capture any sort of information related to this inventory adjustment. And once you have filled all this information, you can come up on the item record. Here you need to select the item that you need to adjust. Let's say, this is this item called. I'll just try to find one item that I like the most, AC57A991. This is the item that I realized was short physically and I need to adjust the quantity. I will select my location or warehouse in which I am doing this adjustment. Let's say I identified a discrepancy in my San Francisco, US location. I'll select my San Francisco, US location. Notice that NetSuite will show you the on-end quantity that is available in the system. Let's say right now my on-end quantity in the system is 9013 units. But when I counted this physically in my San Francisco, US location, I found out that they were actually not 913. Perhaps it was 9015, right? There was an extra 2 quantity which is not reflecting in my system. What I will do is I will select adjust by quantity here. I want to adjust this quantity by 2. I'll select 2 here. And as soon as you select 2 here, notice that NetSuite will show you a new quantity that is 9015. Now you are adjusting your quantity and making sure that your physical stocks are matching with your system stocks. That's the whole idea behind creating an inventory adjustment. And here you can go ahead. Can you see? You see, this is my system quantity previously and I'm adjusting it by 2. This is my new quantity that is 9015. Alright. And if I, let's say, adjust this by 5, you will notice that my new quantity will be 918. Based on whatever you are doing physically, you will just select the adjusted quantity over here. And NetSuite will record a new quantity for that item. And this will make sure that the discrepancy between the physical stock and the system stock, the physical stock and the system stock is resolved. That's the overall idea behind doing the adjustments. And here you can select your unit cost. This is the cost at which you want to receive the new goods. Let's say you are forcing that this new 5 goods are worth of, let's say, 600. Because these are old stocks and the worth of this goods is $600. I can enter 600 over here and I can add this line. Once I add this line, I can simply save this. And you will notice that automatically NetSuite will increase my quantity by 5 for this item. And we also process a GL impact. I'll just quickly show that once this is saved, this transaction is now saved. And if I go here in Actions, GL impact, notice that based on the 600 unit cost and the quantity of 5 NetSuite was able to create a GL impact where it is debiting your inventory asset account and crediting the expense account that we use at the header level of the adjustment. This is the GL impact that will be created when you do your inventory adjustment. And similarly, you could also have a case where you need to reduce your quantity, right? Perhaps instead of increasing the quantity, you might identify that the system stocks are showing some overstated figures. In that case, you can also do a negative adjustment. How to do that? Let's just go back on this same adjustment. I'm going to edit this one, the same one. We need to add the items with the negative balance. That's right. Absolutely. I just wanted to show you that as well. Let me just wait once. This form is here right now. We were increasing the quantity by 5. But now, let's say you counted your goods and you found out that instead of 9 and 13, they were 9 and 10. Now you need to reduce your quantity. And for that, I will select -3. Now see that your new quantity is 9010. You can increase also your quantity from this form. And you can also decrease your quantity from the same form if that makes sense. Thank you. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.